What is up, Fin fans? Early in the morning, if you can't tell by my allergy puffed, tired face, if you can't tell by the title either, the Miami Dolphins have given Minkah Fitzpatrick permission to seek out a trade. Now, there's a lot of details in this statement. There's a lot of details in what's going on with Minkah Fitzpatrick that we need to talk about before we all lose our minds. Because when I read it last night during the Tampa Bay Bucks game, and Panthers game, which I lost my pick because I thought the Panthers would play better and I thought Cam Newton wouldn't suck. I think he's more interested in what he wears in his post-press conference. I do apologize for the sniffling. I have the worst allergies on the face of the earth right now when I woke up, and it's really aggravating me. But let's talk about Minkah Fitzpatrick. That's what the video is about. Let's talk about Minkah Fitzpatrick. He has been unhappy since training camp. He has been unhappy since his mother tweeted out that he should stick at one position. He was drafted in a defense with a head coach with a team that isn't around anymore. He was drafted to play a position that was installed by a guy who, for one, sucked at defensive coordinator, and two, isn't with the team anymore. Brian Flores' defense is a very hybrid, you're going to play multiple positions defense. The only position I can really say sticking at their one position is corner. You don't see Xavier Howard or a.k.a. Gilmore with the Patriots playing multiple positions. They might play boundary slot, they might just stick with the best receiver that's on the field, but they're not going to go to safety, they're not going to go, to linebacker, all that stuff. But in this style of defense, you have the defensive tackles and defensive ends constantly switching. They might even drop back into coverage just to mess with people while the linebackers are blitzing, vice versa. All these things, safeties are going to come up, corners might be... You see what I'm saying? It's a very fluid defense. And Minkah, when he was drafted, was going to play safety or boundary corner, slot corner. I think last year because we had McDonald and we had Rashad Jones, so the safeties kind of were filled, and they would put him in boundary or slot corner, and he did really well in slot corner. The Dolphins and Brian Flores saw that in the tape, and were like, well, if you could play boundary, slot, and safety, we're going to want you to play all of it. We want you to be our Swiss Army knife of this defense. We want you to be everywhere and do what you're best at and do everything. He's not happy about that. Not happy about that at all. So now the Dolphins aren't actively trading him. The Dolphins aren't actively seeking to trade him. Let's be very specific on that. The Dolphins don't want to trade Minkah Fitzpatrick. Minkah Fitzpatrick is unhappy with the situation. Will this end up with Minkah Fitzpatrick getting traded? I don't know. Lately, I don't know anything. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know anything. If I say that it's not going to happen, it might happen, and vice versa. What I would like to happen is I'd like the relationship between Brian Flores, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and Brian Flores and some of his players to be bonded, to be fixed. So he needs to explain himself. Now, he needs to explain himself to you guys because a lot of you guys are very upset with the direction the Dolphins are going. And he needs to explain himself to the players because if you want better players to come play here, if you want draft picks to come play here, if you want free agents to come play here, you need to be somewhat more transparent with them and you need to talk to them. Let them know what the plan is. Again, I apologize for the sniffling, allergies, 5,000. So it can be fixed. It doesn't, the tweets and everything that went out last night at 11:30 aren't wrong, but it can be fixed. Just put Minkah at boundary corner. That would save a lot. Put Minkah at boundary corner or put Minkah at safety. And then take Bobby McCain, put him back at boundary corner or slot corner. Just do that, and I think it all goes away. But then as a head coach, you start to become submissive to the players, and then you start to take away from your game plan, take away from the plan you had for the defense to just not piss off one player. So that's where Brian Flores has to start to think to himself, what is best for the team? Do I stick with the status quo? Do I stick with my plan on fixing this team? Do I stick with my plan on making this team better? And yes, making this team better does sometimes, in fact, mean getting rid of players that in the outside world sees them as really great players, but from the organizational standpoint and from the defense that he's running, they just don't fit. It's just not working. These are the things Brian Flores needs to think about. These are the things that Brian Flores needs to make a decision on. And again, the Dolphins don't want to trade Minkah, and the Dolphins aren't actively trading Minkah. Minkah's just unhappy right now. Minkah's unhappy covering tight ends. But again, if you play safety, you're going to have to cover tight ends. He's very unhappy with his situation. Now, again, like I said about 5 seconds ago, this could be fixed, this can be mended. It all depends on Minkah, and it depends on Brian Flores and Chris Grier. That's what it all depends on. But again, a lot of people are upset that, what are the Dolphins doing? The Dolphins are getting rid of these players, Chris Grier, I honestly think Chris Grier, before this year, didn't have much control. He had the name GM. And a lot of people want to say that, Brian Flores wasn't the defensive coordinator, so he had nothing to do with the Patriots winning the Super Bowl, and he had nothing to do with the Patriots defense. But he called the plays and all that stuff, but he didn't have the name. And that's where you can kind of instill into Chris Grier, because before this year, Chris Grier had the name GM, but it seemed like Tannenbaum and Gase were really calling the shots, and Tannenbaum and Gase were Gase was like, I want this player, they fit my offense, this person, and then Berg is like, he'll fit my defense, and then Greer's like, all right, and then Tannenbaum's like, yeah, you have to do it, and I'm going to sign this guy for this contract, and Greer's like, all right, because it was a trifecta, but it really wasn't a trifecta. So Chris Grier and Brian Flores need to sit down and think, what am I doing here? Because at some point, the NFL might step in. At some point, if the Dolphins trade Minkah Fitzpatrick and they get a first-round pick from, who needs a safety? Just throw out a team that needs a safety, and they're going to give us a first-round pick. The Dolphins will have 3 first-round picks this year. And essentially, whenever a team, if the Dolphins keep doing this, and the Dolphins keep trading away talent for first-round picks, it will get to the point where it's blatantly obvious that the Dolphins don't want to be competitive this year, and then it'll get blatantly obvious that teams that face the Dolphins are going to most likely win, and it's just not a competitive year. So the NFL might step in if the Dolphins don't do something about the fact that all of a sudden they're trading away everybody. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, and I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, but that's just the thing you might want to think about, because not only do us as fans are going to start to get really upset with the fact that we want to watch our team be competitive. We want to watch our team, give us something to watch on the field. We don't want to watch our team lose 59-10 every week. Now, I don't think they will. I'm just telling you, giving you guys an idea. I don't think they will. But it'll get to a point where the NFL's probably going to be like, what are you doing? This can't be a norm. This can't be something that every team wants to do because they want to get these good play. Someone might step in. But just again, to talk about Minkah Fitzpatrick, I hope it doesn't happen. I hope he doesn't get traded. I hope Brian Flores sits down and talks with him. I hope that's what's happening right now and saying, what's the problem? What's going on? Brian Flores needs to needs to assert himself as the head coach and say, I'm the head coach, this is what's going to happen. But he also needs to talk to his players, sit down with his players, be like, what's going on? What's the matter? Let me explain to you what I have planned for you and all that stuff. I think he's already done it, but again, we don't know much. The whole thing about, players after the 59-10 loss have asked to get me out of Miami, and I said, I don't believe it. I still kind of don't believe it, because there was a lot of things that those same writers said that weren't true. Again, Everyone left their locker room. No one was giving a post-game interview in the locker room when all of a sudden there was whole defensive line, whole offensive line, Xavier Howard, like a bunch of people, Bobby McCain, they were all giving post-game interviews. So I think that some of it is true, but I think they blew it out of proportion to get people to read their articles, the clickbait, all that stuff. But again, what is broken of the news is that Minkah Fitzpatrick is given permission to seek a trade. That doesn't mean that whatever trade he finds or whatever, is going to happen, or they can't still mend this relationship for him to stay. But as of right now, that is the breaking news, is that the Dolphins aren't actively trading him. They aren't seeking a trade for him, but they said to Minkah, because he's very unhappy. And you could see in that Ravens game, the one touchdown on the goal line, I think it was like a slant or a drag pattern to the tight end, he stopped. He was following the tight end, and then he threw the touchdown. He just stopped and started walking away to the sidelines. You could see he was done. He was just like, what the heck, man? And he was just done. And you can kind of see he wasn't giving it his all in that Ravens game. You could see that he wasn't mentally there. And maybe it's because he doesn't like the position he's playing in. Maybe it's all that stuff. But you got to fight for your team. So we'll see how this all pans out. I just really want to get to one of you guys' comments of the day. One of you guys, Roadrunner, hit me up on Twitter. It said, comment of the day, Doug, if you had a choice of building the O-line and the D-line with free agents or through the draft, not mixing, what would they be? I would say through the draft. But that's a hard question because I would mix and match. I would have some vets on there as well as rookies so they can learn off the vets and stuff. So just to do it all with one or the others wouldn't work, because you do it all with, say you draft the whole entire offensive line with just rookies, if they all struggle, it's going to be horrific. You want to throw some vets in there. So, if you put a gun up to my head, I'd say free agency. I take back what I say. I want vets in there that have done it before, but you want to sprinkle in a little bit of both. But be sure to comment below. Let me know what you guys think of this whole Minkah Fitzpatrick situation. Let me know. I know a lot of you guys are very upset with the season so far. A lot of you guys, especially you season ticket holders, want your money back. And the way it seems and the way it's going forward, I don't blame you, because be competitive. One of you guys asked me, what do you, if you had to bring someone back, what are some of the cuts? And it's like the Orchard cut, and, they bring back Hendricks, but it's like, all right, I get getting rid of the huge inflated contracts, Kenny Stills, TJ McDonald, but there's some things, I'm not calling Adam Gase a genius, I'm not calling Brian Flores a genius, and I'm not giving Brian Flores the benefit of the doubt. I still am. It's week 1, so I'm like, let me see where this goes. But him and Greer have done things that I'm like, why? Like with Cameron Wake, you didn't even offer him a contract. Why? You cut Orchard, who was your best pass rusher in preseason. Why? He's not going to cost you much, and they don't even bring him back after week 1. There's some things I'm like, oh, I get what they're doing, and there's some things I'm like, why are you doing that? So, I'm trying to keep even keeled here, especially for you guys, because there's 2 different subscribers here that some are like, the ship is burning, I'm jumping off, and some are like playing they're part of the band playing as the Titanic's going down. So we'll see what happens with Minkah Fitzpatrick. Again, Dolphins won't want to trade him. Dolphins aren't seeking out a trade, but he's upset. So what the Dolphins can do right now is they can fix that. They can talk to him. They can mend that relationship, and they can put him at boundary corner where we need another corner. Plain and simple. Put him at boundary corner. Keep Bobby McCain at safety with Rashad Jones, and have Xavier Howard and Minkah Fitzpatrick. I feel like that would fix the whole situation, because then he would start shutting down the other receivers. That's what I think. Be sure to comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter. If more news breaks today, I'll be retweeting it and tweeting it out. I got to head to work in a little bit, so be sure to follow me on Twitter at DouglieDoWrong. It doesn't pop up because it's coming straight from my phone. Be sure to check out the Bit Boys. I'm going to put some Madden videos out this weekend. I was going to put some more out, but the server was down yesterday. We're going to get no compensation for that. We're going to get none. Also, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. I don't think it's going to happen, but be sure to give this video a thumbs up because you like this content. Give this video a thumbs up for me. How about that? Give this video a thumbs up to let me know. Thank you for doing these videos and breaking news and stuff, because I love this team. I'm not going to stop doing videos for you guys. I'm not going to stop giving you guys breaking news. So be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Be sure to check out DolphinsTalk.com. Great site. Also, I did a Sportscaster live stream for a little bit last night. You can check them out as well. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Like I said, I love this team. I'm going to give you guys videos at least 4 times a week. You got pregame, postgame, picks, and then whenever breaking news happens, you're going to get a video. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. Other than that, I'll see you either later tonight or tomorrow with my Patriots-Dolphins preview. Like usual, guys, stay classy. Things are going to get better. I promise you things are going to get better. Fins up.